Good evening. Welcome back to the second episode of the Night Audit with your host Chaz Barnes. Episode 1 is out. You guys can check that out when you're ready. So I do got the game in the background. So anybody want to understand? Anybody want to know who's winning right now? The Knicks are winning. That's I am a Celtics fan, so I don't I do not care for either one of these teams at all. I do not care. I hate when my team gets defeated because then people start asking you questions. They'll be like, "Well, who are you rooting for now?" Now, obviously, they didn't ask me that, but it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to get into. It's hard to when the Celtics get eliminated. I know, roll tide. When the Celtics get eliminated, it's like I don't know. Anybody can win at this point. I don't care. But I will have it on. So how y'all doing? How was y'all day? I hope your day was fruitful, such as mine. I had a dentist appointment. I had to get my second cleaning done. Yeah. Got to keep up the work. Got to go back in 3 months. So I got to go back in August. Worked out today. So this is my workout gear, as y'all can see. So I try to work out at least 3 days a week. As we go along, I will talk more about that. Yo, I was just watching some Eric Thomas. I read his book, You Owe You. So of course, is the title of this episode, You Owe You. I've started watching his videos. I read the book like a couple of months ago. I have to reread it. The current book I'm reading is Battle Cry by Jason Wilson. Really, really good book. I'm actually going to read it once I'm off this video as well. I try to read like when I'm at work, when I'm on my first break, I try to read part of his chapter, at least 10 minutes. Try to get at least 10 minutes of reading in. I can do more. I should do more. I probably can finish the book a lot faster, but I try to like slow read it as much as I can because there's so much to like absorb and take in. So if you ever get a chance, check that book out. Battle Cry and his other book, The Man, The Moment Demands. 10 Ways to Be a Comprehensive Man. Yeah. So, when saying that, a reason why I titled this episode You Owe You. Also, I got some great news. This guy got a promotion. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Because between some of the message I heard in church yesterday, the sermon, and then some of the things that I've been talking about. So that's why I say listen to Eric Thomas before this evening. I need something to kind of like prep me up, give me some inspiration, motivation. I'm on my PC, my mini mobile command center. So I actually had a question that I have to probably put in the top of the chat. Let's see. All right. I also rewatched my first video. That was my first recording since December. So I had a couple of takes, whatnot. I actually recorded that video at 2 a.m., a little bit after 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning and whatnot. So that's why I may probably sound as super low on there than I am now. I'm a little bit more up, alert, energetic as well. Okay, so we're talking about You Owe You. You Owe You. So part of this channel, part of the Night Audit channel, we're auditing things again, life, finances, career, relationships, you name it. We're gonna take an audit of it, and we're gonna dial it back and see if we can do better. The last thing that the Eric Thomas, the video I was just watching, the title of this video, he says, "Stop seeking approval and start living your calling." The previous video I watched, let me see. Sorry, y'all, bear with me. Usually I can see a history of it. Here we go. So I actually watch three videos, three videos a day of him. But the first one was Write the Vision. He says make 2026 your greatest year. And then the one I watch or listen to earlier, You're Not Tired, You're Drained from Pouring into the Wrong People. So back to the episode, back to the title, You Owe You. Eric Thomas, of course, acts in his book, he says, You owe you. So I'm asking, and I guess the question is, what is one promise you made to yourself that you've been neglecting? It's time to pay up. And the other question is, or another statement is that, listen, we all have the same 24 hours, same 24 hours, but as a 9 to 5er, I know how easy it is to give. We know how easy it is to give everything, all give our best energy to a company, to a job, to someone else or whatnot. What is one step you're taking today to investing back into your brand? And my other question that will be talked about in this episode, where we're auditing self debt. You owe yourself discipline, or I owe myself discipline. So, what is one non negotiable, or what is a non negotiable habit you're starting doing this reset? But for me, since we were talking about me, so what is one promise I've made to myself that I've been neglecting? I got a lot of them. Let me think if I can think of one. I can think of one. Let me see. Oh, I have been neglecting. I have been neglecting my budget. I know, and it's for real. And before I got on tonight, I logged into my Every Dollar app. Shout out to the Dave Ramsey people. If you haven't downloaded it, download that. They're not paying me this. They're not paying me to say this, but I'm trying it out for the first time. So I'm actually on a 14-day subscription trial. So I might end up just keeping it for a year or so. I don't think it's a bad thing. I've been doing tribal math. Okay. What is tribal math? Tribal math is you have the money and you're just spending it. Like you don't care. You just whenever you get it, you just. I mean, I check my transactions. Every morning I check my transaction. As long as I got it in my bank account, all right, hey, great. So I had been saying for like 40 some days, I said, all right, I'm going to look at my budget. I'm going to create a budget. Now, when I was in my relationship, we did do a budget. We use a spreadsheet. We use an Excel spreadsheet to do the budget. And the way in which we was doing the budget, we would do it for the current month. So whatever we spent, we do it 2 times a month. So whatever we spent between pay cycles, we would just put in the box and say, okay, hey, we spent $200 on this. This is what it was. We spent $500 for this. Now, some of the numbers stay the same, like rent stay the same, phone bill stay the same. We stuff was separate. Car notes were separate. Car insurance was separate. But those numbers, what I mean is those numbers were still the same for each person, for each of us. When I moved back in, my mom, whatnot, when I was in the transition going back and forth, my bank accounts, and I had gotten to the point where my bank accounts never got low. It never reached low. It never reached single digits in a long time. Between going from my old apartment, going to work, going to my old apartment, picking up my things, going back to here, my mom's house, going to the gym. Of course, I was burning a lot of gas, whatnot. Also, too, I was eating out a little bit more. I was Uber Eats in it a lot. So much so that one day my mom asked me, she said, Chaz, she said, are you okay? She said, I noticed you haven't been eating your salads because I normally have salads for lunch, but I will, well, for dinner or whatnot, I will have a little more protein and whatnot. But for lunch, for when I'm at work, I will have a salad. And when I go to the gym, I put more in there. So I put salads, I put extra protein, yogurt, there's fruits. And so I will have a meal, so I'll eat. But when I get home, I will eat heavier, if it makes sense. Everything was off. Everything was like way off. And so my Bank of America app would notify me, hey, you're in danger of going low. You're in danger of going zero. So, hey, you may want to, move funds around. I was like, yeah, no, I got to do a budget. I got to reset the numbers because also, too, I didn't, while moving, the lease at my last place wasn't up until April. So between paying rent here and also paying rent there, now there was only maybe 2 times I paid half my rent over there, but we worked it out. We worked it out where, hey, 1 month I didn't have to worry about it. I was like, hey, I need to take care of some things at my mom's house, whatnot. Hey, can you take care of this month? Everything was fine, but still, that doesn't neglect the fact that, hey, I am running on fumes when it comes to the money and whatnot. So I had been saying, I said, hey, I need to do a budget, need a budget. So I finally downloaded the Every Dollar app. So I put it on my phone up until like last Sunday. I finally got it on my desktop, got it on my laptop. And so I have been now inputted numbers for April. And y'all, April, I will like do a budget where I'll do a video where I will show you the ledger for April and May as well, because we're like in the red right now. But that might change. I mean, it's early in the month, so the numbers may change. I haven't got paid yet. My first check of May isn't happening until Mother's Day weekend, so that this coming Friday, and then we get paid the Friday, the weekend before Memorial's Day. So anyway, so there's still time, still time. And I did mention that promotion as well. Praise God. But anyway, so I was like, all right, I need to start. So the way budgeting was working before, it was like you just budgeting for the current month. I never, or when we was together, we never like budget it, like do a budget for like 2 months out. Because a lot of things we can be like, hey, okay, if we're taking a trip, for example, we can be like, okay, this is how much, this is how much, and we can divvy up the expenditures, right? We can come up with, we can do the sinking fund, move money around, put it in a certain account, or divide up whatever the total amount of everything is, and just pay it up before we go. Usually do a good job on that. So again, when I got here, again, it was just like, okay, I got the money, and that enough was enough. Enough was enough. And I was just like, I'm not going to be able to, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much more money I make. Whatever, living with my mom, I'm living on my own again, or living with my soon to be wife. It does not matter. The budget gives you permission to spend. So I wasn't giving myself permission. I mean, I was breaching contract. So I was spending money like Congress. I was like, whatever. So it's not that the money is not there. It's just that I have to tell the money what to do. And I wasn't doing a good job at that. I was doing a piss poor job at telling my money where to do. I was just like, well, got the money, here you go. And so now it forces me to kind of dig in my savings a bit, dig in my cash reserves, which I already got to like rebuild this stuff anyway because of all of the expenditures from the wedding that didn't go through and what could be recovered. So I have to use this time to rebuild it back up. So y'all, I have been plugging the numbers away. Now, the beautiful thing is, like, I have some things I want to do. There are some things I need to do, and there's things I want to do. Like, for example, I recently got some work done on my car, and I want some more. I want to do some more work on the car. Now, I have a quote. I've been quoted out. I got a work order for that stuff, and eventually, I might put a deposit down and set up a work order so they can order the parts and start working on the next phase of the car. So also there is like we at the beginning of this month we put a deposit down for AC repair. My mom been without heat for a long, long time. Even before I left, even when I moved out of here in 2015, there was no heat. And since I've been gone, I mean, no heat and air. It's been fans and space heaters. So now we're given an opportunity to fix things. So I had to put that in the budget. So that blew the expenditure. Even if the deposit has been paid, but the AC guy still got to be paid. So he's already told me what his amount is and what we need to give him. Back to what I was saying. I'm just sorry for a second. So that's one thing I have because it's important. As part of this reset, as part of this rebuilding and whatnot, I gotta make sure that as God allow open doors for me to come into more money, more opportunity, I gotta make sure I'm stewarding my money effectively. I have to, and I can't be a dusty when it comes to the money because the numbers ain't gonna lie. The budget it's not gonna lie. Eventually, it's gonna catch up. Eventually, it's gonna catch up. So those were truths when all that went down. But they, after a while, they will be excuses. They will be excuses. It's all about what is now, and that was part of the sermon that was spoken to yesterday, and I wrote some notes down on it as well. So that's one thing that I have been neglecting. So that's me. So nobody else is going to hold me accountable but for me. I mean, God, obviously. So that is one thing. That is the big thing because I need to know where all these lofty things goes. I need to know as more monies come online And also, I need to keep my lifestyle relatively the same, no matter how much more money I make. That's a blessing, but I want to keep it gives me more margin, but I want to make sure that I keep my costs low and I know where my money is going. I know where everything is happening. All right. So the next question is for me is what step that I'm taking today to invest back in my brand? Hey, you might be recording, you might be doing some YouTube content creation yourself. And I was listening to Anton Daniels, Millionaire Morning Show. Shout out to him. He's a big proponent of that. And while working his jobs, he built his dream. He did his thing in between. What if it's 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 30 minutes here, so on and so forth. Now, at my job, people do that. There's some people that do it more openly than others or whatnot. I myself haven't took my laptop and everything. We got a lot of personal rooms you can go into, so nobody really has to know what you're doing, as long as you're not doing anything scrupulous or nefarious. Okay, so that's one thing that I'm doing, and I had been saying I used to, and on my channel, you still might be see some of my music videos. Oh, well, music that I still have up. Now, a couple of them are copyrighted, so if people start liking, if you all like it and get more views, I'm not gonna get monetization off that stuff, and that's fine. I might end up just taking it down, taking the ones that's got the copyright in there, and just keep the ones that don't. Or y'all have to personally download it and so y'all can listen to it yourselves. But that was about we're talking about it's 2026, so we're talking about several 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, give and take. So I kept it up. So if you guys want to, while you listen to me talk, you listen to my music. I might bust out some freestyles on this channel. You never know. But back to what I was saying about him and about anyone, it's like you got to build your brand. You get the same 24 hours. What are you doing with it? A lot of us moan and complain about what others doing. We are following the superficial things that is not adding no value, it's not bearing no fruit, nothing at all. So it's frustrating. It's like, hey man, it's like, well, how can so and so do it? It wasn't like Anton did it. It was an overnight success or anyone else. They traded in their time for resources. They traded in their time for resources. And for the longest time, fun fact for me, for the longest time, I was never really on the kick of okay, hey, I need to get a second job or I need to start funding my business. I need to do that. I was rapping. So my thing was I rap and it'll figure itself out. But obviously we did not ever make it to BET. We made it somewhere, but we didn't make it to BET. So I went to school, I got my degree. So I started looking at, okay, if I get my degree, okay, if I go off and give myself 10 years to do it, it's like even music was like a 10-year thing. If I made it in within those 10 years, well, I need to go ahead and just park it, go ahead and give it up. And I had been at that time when with my music that I brought out, I had been rapping since 2009. It was 2019. Now I could have maybe did more. I mean, it's more groove, grind, more and whatnot, but been 10 years. And it's not to say if I drop a project now, okay, hey, it might blow up and stuff like that, but I don't really want to travel. I want to travel, but I would rather talk to you all. I'd rather talk for a living. Do something I love. I'd rather do this. I'd rather do something like this that I don't mind doing for free that I can eventually get paid for. And that's value. That was my thing. And then podcasting was never a thought. It was never a thought. Content creation, none of this was ever a thought. I was like, okay, I'm going to go to school, get my degree, I'm going to work and and just get a family. And I think that I want to say probably after COVID, probably things shifted. It shifted. What if I try to, okay, I have this I do for 8, 9, 10 hours or so. What can I be doing on the side to be adding value? What can I do to build my brand? It don't have to be nobody else's business. So podcasting really wasn't a real thing until I thought about it maybe last year. Last year. There were people at my job that were talking about it, and I was just like, oh, well, let me go look up some some equipment and cameras, mics. They were talking about, oh, go to the studio, let's do it, and all that stuff. I was like, man, I could just do that at home. I was like, why I gotta go to the studio? I mean, now I can get to it whenever I get to that point, I can create a studio where I can go and record, and I can set up anywhere. When I'm on the road, I can just set up my studio, my little mics or my webcam, and talk to you all. I don't have to. I can work. I don't have to be up all night. One thing about music, it's very nocturnal. You're up all night. Can you be up all night with this? Yeah, you can. But there's flexibility in this because you can do it around your work schedule. You can build in systems, which is something I need to give myself, because I've been telling myself, like, I need to give myself a schedule when I do this. I want to make sure this is 5 days a week, but also I have another channel that I have to like build up as well. So when they was talking about it, I was like, oh, cool. But then I thought about it. I said, well, start researching things. I said, some of the topics they talk about at work is a little controversial, whatnot. And I was just like, we work close together. And I said, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure because conflict. Okay, yeah, you make the money, but conflict. Because you don't know what people are really made of and who people really are until you go through a conflict, till you have a major disagreement, till you have an argument, or if you're in a relationship when you break up. That's when you find out who they really are and what they are. I was like, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. So I remember I kind of shelved it for now, but by the summertime, I was thinking about it. I started thinking about it. I said, hey, I'm big into sports. I love sports. I mean, like football, my Patriots, my Red Sox, Alabama, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, I could maybe talk about sports, but that can be a niche. But also, I didn't have this channel in mind. I didn't have the name of this channel. I didn't have this in mind. This wasn't my vision. This wasn't the thing that I had set. But I was dead set on getting into content creation. I was dead set on it because I watched so much over since the pandemic. I'm not saying it's easy. By all means, I'm not saying this is easy, because you got to work, you got to grind, but you got to treat it like it's another job. You got to love it. You got to love what you do. I have to love what I do. So in short order or whatnot, I birthed Beyond the End Zone Living Room show. I went through a couple of changes. I wrote prompts that give me like some kind of structure on how, because when you talk about sports is so vast, it's so wide. So, okay, how do you narrate it? I don't have a major network right now, so I can't run. I'm not a simulcast. Okay. So I can't talk about boxing. I don't watch boxing, but I know people who do. So it's like, you think about how to bring folks on and how to talk about it, how it draws me in, or talking about soccer. Now, again, like I said, basketball, football is primarily what I watch, and a little bit of baseball. Okay. And college football. So when I start, this is right around still wedding planning time, before everything went to a screeching halt. I was like, I want to start my channel. I mean, regardless whatever happens, I need to get something out there. If something do happens, I can at least relaunch, rebrand at a later time. I know it's going to suck, which it did, because I haven't recorded anything and put anything out prior to the first video of this channel. So as long as I got something out there, now I can check it off the box. It's important to take those one step. So that's one step that I'm doing, is record, edit, post. I can check the engagement. I know I'm not going to probably get as much engagement. It's fine, but as long as I got something out there, and that's what I'm doing, the one big step. Because like for the longest time, this setup, I don't know, if some came over me, the Lord was speaking. He was just like, he said, it was like, yo, you have, I mean, all the other stuff I need. I might want to get another microphone. I really don't like this mic setup, because when I record my End Zone Living Room channel, I have my sports banners on this side, and I may switch it around. I may eventually just switch everything around so it gives me a little bit more motion, range. And I was like, well, I got a mic, I got a webcam, I got speakers. The only thing I need to do is test the sound. I've found the headphones to be a little bit intrusive for me, so I was just like, okay, let me try to invest in a good mic, which I will do that. And let's get it popping. And so that's what I did. I was like, there's no reason to be saying, oh, well, I'm gonna start on May 27th. Why not start now? Now, like I said, my other channel, I can figure it out, but at least get something going while I work out the other thing with the other channel. If that makes sense. So whatever it is that you're doing, whatever you've been holding off, whatever it's your landscaping company, electrical company, or security, home security system, or you're building computers, or you're putting up drywall, running a restaurant. So like a lot of things, like if you, like I said, if you follow Anton, you follow Jason Wilson, all of these guys had they worked regular jobs, but they also had other things on the side. And also, that's the thing that God's calling you to do, because God doesn't qualify to call. I'm sorry, God doesn't call to qualify. He qualifies to call. Whatever it is you're thinking about doing, take that one step. You owe you. Remember that. You owe you. Nobody else ain't gonna do it for you. You got to put yourself in miracle territory, just like what Eric Thomas talks about in his book. You got to put yourself in miracle. That's when you start doing that. You put yourself in miracle territory. Then you start bumping heads and bumping elbows with other folks, and you be like, oh, they give you tips and pointers and things like that on how to like make things better, how to make your stuff pop even more, take it to the next level. So you get the same 24 hours. So you take care of your 9 to 5, but when you're on your 9 to 5, because I used to work 10 hours. When I first started working at the job I worked at, we worked 10-hour shifts, and we also worked eights on Fridays for overtime. And I still took my ass to the gym. It was a struggle, but I still took my butt to the gym. But it was like, okay, well, what? Because again, time management. You start thinking about, people talk about work-life balance. Ain't no such thing as work-life balance. When you doing this, you got to find a balance in work. Some things you got to tip it. It's the scale of things, like you got to tip to what's more important. Now for me, it's leaning more into God, it's leaning more in my purpose and my mission. So as I build my brand, as you build your brand, keep that in mind. You owe you when it comes to that. So even as I got a promotion as well, which was a bit of a time coming and whatnot, and it caught me off guard. Got the confirmation. The actual confirmation kind of came today, but the supervisor put me to the side. He told me, he said, hey, Chaz, hey, we've been discussing things, and it blew me because I was kind of in my head a little bit. I was like, oh, no, I mean, not to say I'm not going to, it's not a matter if I get it, it's when I get it, but I don't know. I'm like, I don't want to like try to get in the way of God and try to interfere, but we're humans. We start to doubt things and stuff like that. And one of my things is like, I don't want to put my faith and success in the hands of other people. Because if I put it in the hands of people alone, they're going to let me down. And so that kind of came along, and I got the information, I signed everything, and I was just like blown away. I was like, oh my God. I had a moment too. I had to keep my emotions together in front of him. I went to the bathroom. I did have to use the bathroom. I went to the bathroom and I let my tears out. I thank God. I thank Jesus, man. So yeah, so we got more. So it's more irons in the fire, more to come. So just keep that in mind. So as you move along, move up in the company, whatnot, use it up, use the money, use the extra income to build your brand. What is the non-negotiable habit? I've started doing this reset. It's actually say 1,000-day reset, which might be a little bit longer, but we're going to say 1,000. 1,000 is like 2.5 years. But I'll still be rocking out with you even beyond that point. So I started keeping progress of the things I do. I've been paying my student loans, but I've been making payments, right? Been making payments for a while, but all the payments was going to the interest, which is not, it's not bad. It's not necessarily, it's not great because I'm not paying the actual loan. I want to be paying the actual loan. Like when I have my car note, I pay the actual loan. I try to put more on it, pay the actual loan. And so one day in January, I started to like look at the debt snowball effect a little bit more. I technically did it when I had my last car, but with the student loans, I wasn't actually paying a student loan to pay a student loan off. And so I paid off a student loan this year. Now I'm looking to pay off at least one or two more before the year is over with. So I started looking at that. So let me look at these. Let me look at the debt snowball. Let me confirm some things. Let me just, when I have an episode that's gonna we're gonna talk about it a little bit more. And I was just like, okay, I need to like start looking at my loans. Now I had to like pause for a second because of all home improvement things. But rest assured, we're gonna be kicking some money towards those bad boys. That was one thing. Now maybe I say I did say my budget starting that as well. I would say that was my. It's only it says only one non-negotiable. So if you got more than one, yeah, I started looking at that. I started looking at my student loans a little bit more, and I was like, okay, let me just pick the smallest one and stop. Don't worry about the interest. Just pay attention to the principal. And it was a psychological shift when the principal started going down. Little going to the interest, but the principal was going down. I was like, oh, I said, oh, it's over now. It is over now. It's over now. It's over for them student loans. It's not a matter if it's when. It's you owe you. And so, yeah. Just learning how to be disciplined. Discipline myself. So, hope that helps. Yeah, I don't know if I have anything else to add to this. Oh, wow. Man, we recorded. Oh, man, we hit the 40-minute mark. But as always, people, we will see you again next time. And that's it. Peace.